And we are live. What's going on, YouTube? And welcome to Goal Line Hockey Live. It's Kevin Forte, and we are here. Apologize for the delay. I had some problems with making dinner, so it took me a little bit longer to get on here. But it doesn't look like we're really missing much. They're in the second intermission of the Carolina Hurricanes, New Jersey Devils. This series has been really hard to watch. A lot of games in the second round have been kind of hard to watch. It's been a lot of blowouts so far in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And tonight continues that as it is a 6-1 lead for the Hurricanes in Game 4 in New Jersey. They look like they will be putting the Devils backs against the wall in game number 5 because heading down to Raleigh, it looks like they will have a 3-1 series lead. I want to know your guys' thoughts on the series so far, as well as some of the action last night. Vegas Golden Knights keeping my dreams alive. What's going on? I'm sure Morgan's happy right now, as well as Luis. Yeah, we'll get to the Panthers as well. There was a lot of really good hockey here over the last couple of days. We also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out last night's live stream. We did a live stream taking a look at the NHL draft lottery. So I want to know your guys' thoughts on the draft lottery as well. I know there was a lot of upset people on Twitter last night and today. And here on the channel during the live stream, a lot of you guys were pissed off, and rightfully so. And we'll get to that as well. So here we are in the third period. It is 6-1 Carolina. It's been a pretty tough game for the Devils. I kind of feel bad for the Devils fans out there that went over to the Prudential Center because this is a rough game to watch. And this is what the Hurricanes do. They get that early lead and they just really don't give you anything. And this is going to be a painful, just limb for limb while the Devils are still alive, kind of just picking them apart tonight. And I hate to get that graphic, but the reality is, the Devils' defense and goaltending has really gotten exposed in this series. You guys are talking about Huberto. Welcome to the chat. What's going on, PJ, Morgan, Luis, Surreal? How's it going, guys? Yeah, Devils fell asleep in that second period. Yeah. Yep. Dennis. Yeah, I know. Yeah, a bunch of you guys are Devil fans here in the chat. I know you guys are always repping in here, so I appreciate you guys. But listen, hopefully I can put a smile on your guys' face by the time this game is over, or at least just make the pain a little bit less. So where do we even start? So, I mean, Luis is in the chat, so I know the Florida Panthers fans out there are really excited. They have a chance to take over tomorrow night and sweep the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you told me this a week ago, I wouldn't have believed you. It's pretty incredible to see just the demise of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then I was kind of thinking about earlier today, I don't know if any of our Leaf fans are in the chat yet, and maybe they won't be, but I almost want them. See, what's worse? Is it better that they get swept and they lose tomorrow night? Or is it better that we get to see a game in Toronto for game 5, how pissed off those Leaf fans are going to be, and then they get swallowed up and eaten alive like the Devils are tonight? We see like a 4-0, 6-1 game for the Panthers in game 5. I think we'd get a lot more memes out of the Leafs fans if they had a game like that. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Would you rather see all the disappointment and shock up in Toronto in game 5? Or would you rather see them just finish it off and keep the brooms out for the sweep? Welcome to the chat, Don, Shazam. Thank you guys for joining us. Urban's in there. What's going on, Urban? You all remember the Avengers when Hulk grabs Loki? This is a lot like that. Yeah, it kind of is. That's a good reference there, Urban. What's going on, Shazam? Big Kev Dev's about to go down 3-1. If the Isles had an average power play, they'd have beaten the Canes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's bittersweet watching the Hurricanes' success right now because it's like, all right, well, maybe the Islanders aren't really that far away because they've been playing better. They had a better series in terms of game for game than the Devils have so far. And like I said, that extra goal scorer. Like if the Islanders could have brought, what's funny? We talk about how Patrick Kane went to the Rangers. He would have been honestly a better fit with the Islanders. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see what the Islanders do because they have enough cap space for one big signing. That could be Scott Mayfield. That could be Pierre Engvall. That could be a new guy in free agency. The Islanders have room for one big name player to come in or keep. And that's going to be really interesting. I hope they keep Zach Parise and Parise comes back. But I love when Shazam comes in the chat because I get to talk about my Islanders for a couple minutes. It's been a lot of weird rumors today that, obviously everything in Toronto, the potential that Kyle Dubas would go to the New York Islanders and once again replace Lou Lamoriello as the GM from Toronto to the Islanders. I don't want that. I don't think he's that great of a GM, but that has been on the Twitter rumor mill this afternoon. Is Kyle Dubas to the Islanders? We've also heard the links to the Penguins. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, what's going on, Toe? Welcome to the chat. Yeah, I agree with you, Don. If it's Panthers, Hurricanes, I got to be honest, I kind of want Vegas. I want Vegas to win the cup, and I know Morgan's going to be happy about that, but I like Vegas. I think they're the kind of team like the Avalanche were last year where their defense is so solid that if they just get adequate goaltending from Adin Hill down the stretch, I'm going with Vegas. And Urban knows this because earlier this week I said, give me Vegas as the Western Conference champion. I said that the other day on Twitter, and they've held to that. Yes, thank you for that, Toe. Guys, make sure to like the stream. Like the stream, guys. Thank you so much. Yep, thank you. That's my man. Yo, we got a super chat from PJ. That's right, our Canadian here in the chat for $14 Canadian. Sorry about my comments last night. Was a bit heated from seeing the Blackhawks getting the first pick after what had transpired in their franchise. Just seemed like they got off too easy. PJ, listen, I know PJ very well. I know you're a troll in the chat and things like that. Yeah, you went over the line, but I really do appreciate that. And I get it. Listen, you guys can talk about it in the chat. I know the chat went off when I said the Blackhawks got it. So many of you guys were upset, and rightfully so. The fact that, and PJ, again, you're doing the Lord's work, giving us super chats to the channel. You're the best. But the fact that the Coyotes lost a first and a second round pick in, I think it was 2020's draft, because they were doing prospect evaluations that was like illegal testing of prospects. They lost a first and a second round pick for that. And you're telling me the whole Kyle Beach situation and the Blackhawks situation is somehow less than that? And that's where we talk about it. It's gotten better here in the second round, but the incongruency and the inadequate justice around the National Hockey League is an extreme issue right now. And I might have to clip this and make an entire video on this, but there's no way to explain it. There's really not. And I know they've talked about, I've watched Steve Dangle and them in the past. And I know they're very big on this topic, but it hurts a lot more because they won the draft lottery. First of all, they probably shouldn't have even had a first round pick in this year's draft, at the very least, let alone winning the whole thing and getting a generational talent first overall. Then they tried making it a little better. I think Kyle Davidson's, late daughter that passed away, during pregnancy, and then his actual daughter, he had them written on his hand, and they're saying, oh, that's good luck and this and that. Listen, I hate to say this, but that little sentimental thing, it doesn't go over. Why wasn't Kyle Beach's name also on his hand? I have no justice for that. And I hate to say, I try not to diminish it for the Blackhawks fans, because the Blackhawks fans and the current management didn't do anything wrong. It's the ownership. It's the Rocky Wirtz ownership that's still there, and they were the ones that should have been held accountable. They gave them some BS fine. That's not going to do anything. They have the first overall pick. They just made $2.5 million last night from season ticket sales because they won the first overall pick. You tell me they're worried about that little fine that they got? Get out of here, man. It's ridiculous. And I'm not trying to be a Blackhawks hater, because I don't hate the Blackhawks as a franchise. I really don't. I love the logo. I love the jersey. And there's a lot of really good fans there in Chicago that did nothing wrong. But for me to sit here and it would be disingenuous for me to not bring up what happened here. So I hope that's the $14 answer you wanted, PJ. But yeah, he did go a little bit off the rails last night. But I respect the accountability on PJ, which is something more than I can say for the billion-dollar owners in Chicago right now, because they have no sense of accountability. I really do appreciate that, PJ. Welcome to the chat. James Farrell, he said, surprising Kane and Taze are not on the Blackhawks now. Draft lottery comes, and now they have this new superstar, to take its place. Yeah, that again. And then there's the question, is it rigged? The Rangers won the first overall pick in 2020. They tanked for 2 years and just so happened to get the first and second overall pick. Meanwhile, the Arizona Coyotes haven't had a top 2 pick in I think it's been like in the last 2 decades. The highest draft pick they've had is 3rd overall, which was Barrett Hayden. And I believe that was 2019. So you tell me a team that's been tanking for the last 3 decades can't get a 1st or 2nd overall pick, and the Rangers 2 straight years, who are a money-making juggernaut in the NHL, get 1st and 2nd overall picks back-to-back years. You can miss me with that. It's ridiculous. It is utter ridiculous. But I digress. And also, we look back at 2020. The Blackhawks also moved up in that draft. It was the Blackhawks and the Rangers, 2 original 6 franchises, moving up in that pandemic draft, right? The wild card team that made it to the quote-unquote wild card but got eliminated, right? We know that was Lundqvist's final run in New York, and one of those teams would win that pick. And of course, it was the New York Rangers. So again, people will say, boo-hoo, go cry me a river, this and that. But listen, you tell that to the Kyle Beach family and all the victims involved, that's not going to go over well. And I'll end it on this note before we move on to the next topic. The humanity side of it is I wish that the Blackhawks didn't get the 1st overall pick or even have their 1st round pick. But the pragmatic reality side of it is they have the 1st overall pick, whether you like it or not. And that's something that, again, it is what it is. So what else do you guys want to talk about other than that? I had to get that one off my chest. If you want to see a little bit more of a deep dive and similar to what I said already, make sure to check out my Connor Bedard video to the Blackhawks earlier this morning. I posted that video, so make sure to check that out, of course, after this stream. Also, go in the link down below. The link down below will lead you to Built Bars. We have a Built Bars sponsorship, my first ever sponsorship. I have Built Bars. I just bought the new animal cookie. They just brought that back. They sold out so quick, they had to bring them back. Use the discount code GLH at checkout for a 10% discount, and I actually get a kickback on that. So you can buy Built Bars wherever you want, but I do get a kickback. It does help me out if you go on that link down below and use GLH. So send me some free Built Bars, PJ. All right, we'll see what I can do there, PJ. That the Islanders going to have long years ahead. That's true. And I don't really watch a ton of basketball there, James, but I assume the Celtics aren't doing well. Louis Bob is an overrated old tendy. Yeah, that's what everybody said, right? And the problem is, too, I've heard a lot of really good things about Bobrovsky in terms of his diet and the way he takes care of himself. There's no joking around with Bobrovsky. He takes it very seriously. I think he just got off to a bad start with the Panthers, and sometimes that just happens, right? Like, and no disrespect to Columbus, but he had a lot of success with the Blue Jackets. Again, they had some good years there, but let's be honest, for the most part, the Blue Jackets were not a very good team. You know, Bobrovsky was on some teams with even the Philadelphia Flyers. So this is a pretty good goalie. Like, let's not forget. Like, let's not be disingenuous. He's had a lot of injury issues as well, but I definitely give credit to where it's due. Yeah, Morgan, I got to disagree with you on that one. I really do think he's a good goalie. But the bigger storyline, and you guys, some of them were talking about in the chat last night, the Leaf fans, you know, what did the Leafs do this year? Because what's so puzzling about them, and this is actually kind of a parallel to the Rangers, is you have all this star talent that you have big money invested in, and no trade clauses and no movement clauses attached to. Like, what do you really do? You know, like, do you trade Marner, Nylander? You're not trading Matthews. You're not trading Tavares' contract. So what are you really going to be able to do here? I don't know. It's going to be really odd to see kind of how things transpire with the Leafs because, even somebody was saying, should they trade Morgan Riley? I was like, what? Yo, we got a super chat from PJ again. Thank you so much, PJ. I think I'll be getting that new backdrop next month. Thanks to the super chats from PJ, $2.79 Canadian. Thoughts on the Flames pursuing Stan Bowman as GM? So I knew this was going to lead to that down that rabbit hole. Apparently, there's been a conversation of who can and can't talk to Stan Bowman at this point. But according to Gary Bettman, no one has been able to talk to Stan Bowman. The rumor, if you guys aren't aware from PJ what he's talking about, apparently Stan Bowman, yes, that GM for the Chicago Blackhawks, yes, the one with all these allegations involved, is rumored to go to the Pittsburgh Penguins or the Calgary Flames. And that's the last time I've heard anything. So I'm not going to specify about what I don't know, but from what I have heard, according to Elliot Friedman, it sounds more like they're kind of it's very unclear still from Gary Bettman what's going on. So there's a little bit smoke and mirrors, and I think we're going to start to figure that out. But I think it's a terrible idea. I hate to say it, guys, the reality is, whether you like it or not, the reality is they are going to prioritize winning over what the look is, right? Let's not be disingenuous. Stan Bowman built a dynasty there in Chicago. Now, some people will say that the GM before him really built that core and Bowman kind of took over and just ran away with it. Similar to what Brisebois did with Tampa now. He's won all those cups, but in reality, Steve Yzerman has been grinding it out for the past decade there in Tampa, building that team up. So I think the idea of Stan Bowman, it's incredible. I think it's crazy, but the teams are going to do what they're going to do. Oh, no, Pete. Oh, no, Morgan. Also, Luis, I dated the governor's assistant daughter, and I have met the Nevada governor. Man, Morgan is a player, man. Listen, he's a young man, and he's doing what he needs to do. That's our guy Morgan there. Who's going to be the next Rangers coach? I think a lot of ties right now, and from Larry Brooks, kind of said, and he talked about somebody that was pissed off. The irony of a Rangers reporter pissed off that the Blackhawks moved up in the draft and saying it's rigged was kind of hysterical. But I digress. Larry Brooks was saying that apparently the Hartford Wolfpack's current head coach is really high on the list right now in terms of maybe getting that gig. So if that's the case, I think that's a good fit, especially for some of the younger players on that team. You look at guys like Zach Jones, Ty Emberson, Matt Robertson, who are playing in Hartford, Dylan Garand. He knows all of those guys. He's already got a good rapport with them. That might not be a bad idea. I think it's going to be interesting what the Rangers do. The other one I would look at too, and I don't know if Andrew Burnett's going to be looking this way, but I think Andrew Brunette, who was a huge part of the Panthers' President's Trophy run last year, we all remember Joel Quenneville at the beginning of last season got let go. Andrew Brunette came in on a pretty much an interim basis, did really well, but unfortunately the Panthers came up short in the second round, and that's why Brunette didn't come back. He's now an assistant in New Jersey, and we've seen what's happened to the Devils this year, so keep an eye out on that. I think Andrew Brunette, and I keep forgetting the guy's name in Hartford, but those are the two I would really be taking a look at. No, James, I disagree with you on that. I think the Islanders should stay away from Quenneville. I would rather see them get a guy like Brunette. Now, I have heard another thing too. If Pittsburgh does decide to go after Kyle Dubas this summer, again, this is from Larry Brooks too. Again, all rumors. This is all speculation. Take with it with a grain of salt. But I've been hearing rumors that maybe we could see something where Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe go as a package from Toronto to Pittsburgh. Now, if that's the case, that would mean that Mike Sullivan is available. Would one of the New York teams be interested in a guy like Mike Sullivan? I think that would be a really good fit for either the Islanders or the Rangers. Again, a lot of dominoes got to fall in the right places, but I do look at that one. If Kyle Dubas does become the next GM in Pittsburgh, he might look to keep his guy in Sheldon Keefe. That would be interesting. Yeah, Urban thinks Sullivan's going nowhere. Listen, again, it's all rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. But if the right dominoes fall in the right place, we might be talking about this in another 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens. Again, this is rumor time. Now that teams are starting to get eliminated, we're seeing some disappointments like the Leafs. I do wonder. I'm really excited for Vegas, man. They're starting to clean the house in New Jersey. But I respect the Devils fans staying in there because I think they're coming to the reality this might be the Devils' last game of the season or of their playoff run. And I do appreciate that a lot of them are staying because I saw that as a theme at Islander games. I don't know if this is around the league, but when the Islanders would go down in a game like pretty bad, people would leave like 10 or 15 minutes early. I'm like, how much did you spend on these tickets? Like, you're just going to leave early? Like, why? But yeah, I think it's I agree with Luis on this one, man. Like, like the amount of money you spend on tickets, and B, like the amount of money, like how much time do you really save, right? I don't know. Maybe it depends on the parking situation with where your stadium is and things like that, but I don't think it's worth it. I just think it's such a bad look. Like even games where the Islanders were killing the Leafs, I think they beat them like 5-1 or 6-1 or something like that. And the fans were leaving like 5 or 10 minutes left. I'm like, the team's winning. The least you could do is keep your butt in the seat for the end of the game. Like, man, I do not like that. Maybe I'm old school. No, I get it, James. It's over. I get that. But it's more of like letting them take over the building sort of thing. It's more of we got to protect our house through thick and thin. That's how I look at it. I understand the argument, but I think it's for the respect of the team. I think it's very disrespectful to just leave. I don't know. I think it's just so crazy with the Hurricanes. It just that I hate to say, well, I don't hate to say it. It's just a real respect to Rod Brendamore with a really a half. I mean, and no disrespect to any of the players on the Hurricanes. This is a half-ass roster, right? 4 of their top 6 forwards are out. A top 4 defenseman. Do you consider Jake Gardner a top 4 defenseman? Out. So, like, you really have to give credit where it's due to a team like the Hurricanes, where even with all the injuries and despite all the odds maybe being against them, even winning the division, it's just crazy to me what the Hurricanes have been able to do under the Rod Brendamore era, really since 2019 was the first year that we saw them really go on that run. They went to the Eastern Conference Final and lost to the Bruins, who lost to the Blues in 2019. But, that was a really good Hurricanes team in 2019. And I don't think the pandemic did the Hurricanes many favors. And now we're starting to see them really turn back to that team that we saw in 2019. And they're a really tough out right now. I just don't see anybody really standing in their way. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. If it really is Panthers Hurricanes Eastern Conference Final, honestly, I think that would be pretty sick, James, surprised Devils fans are not saying fire up. That would I think the Panthers are going on that run right after the disappointment last year, winning the President's Trophy. It makes too much sense. Here are the Devils fans getting memed. I salute to you. I mean, you look at, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 2017, the NHL trade deadline in the spring of 2017, the Washington Capitals got Kevin Shattenkirk. And that was the big move at the time. The Caps are going all in it for 2017. They got bounced once again by Pittsburgh in 2017. They win the President's Trophy, bring in Shattenkirk. Everything went to hell that year. And what happened the year later, after not winning the President's Trophy? 2018, we see Alexander Ovechkin at Nationals Park, drunk off his you-know-what, dancing around in the fountain with the Stanley Cup. So usually this has become a theme, right? We saw Tampa do it in 2018 or 2019. They won the President's Trophy. Then they go on to win the Cup in 2020 and 2021. Colorado won, I think, in 2020. Was it Colorado or Tampa? One of those two. And Colorado got their Cup. Is this a year for the Panthers, who won the President's Trophy last year? The script writes itself, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. So James is saying, I hear that Mayfield's coming back. Mayfield's coming back next season. I haven't heard anything on that. I hate to say it, I'm kind of concerned if he does, because I think he's going to get a pretty good paycheck. He's a pain in the ass defenseman, especially come playoff time. He was one of the Islanders' best defensemen during the playoffs, but during the season, he was a turnover machine. I just don't know how you can go back to that. I really don't. And I hate to say it, he's probably going to get overpaid. Yeah, PJ, the Golden Knights are just that kind of team where they are just shutting down. If they can shut down those top two, it's kind of a no-show for the Oilers. Their depth on 5-on-5 is atrocious. The way Vegas plays is a playoff team. They're a team that you're starting to see Marchessault. He got 2 goals last night. You're starting to see Jack Eichel, right? Kind of, staring down the Oilers fans. Yeah, you should have drafted me. That is kind of what we're seeing from the Golden Knights right now. It's kind of the 2018 Vegas Golden Knights, kind of the reclamation of that a couple years later. I got to say, I think Vegas is going to do something special here. I really do. And it's kind of like the Panthers right now. You can't explain it, but it's just there, right? Yeah, Lou is really good at paying overpriced players. Yes. That's why I thought he was going to end up going to St. Louis. And also, I just wonder about teams that like Berube it just seems like a perfect fit for St. Louis going after Mayfield. But I don't know. Yo, we got a super chat from PJ, $7 Canadian. Thank you so much again, PJ. Man, PJ is literally running this YouTube channel. Thank you so much, PJ. I was at Edmonton Arena yesterday wearing a Flames jersey. It was awesome to see them lose. However, I took a lot of heat from Oilers fans. Oh, so you went to the game in Edmonton? Mad respect to that, PJ. Now, I went to a Ranger game last year at the Garden wearing my Islanders hat during their playoff run. And you probably heard the similar things that I did. Oh, tough luck. Why aren't you at a Flames playoff game? Oh, tough luck. So I know your pain, PJ. I know your pain, but I'm glad you were able to go, though. That's exactly what I heard last year from the Ranger fans wearing an Islander hat. I did not wear my Islander jersey. I'm not that bad, but I did wear an Islanders hat just to see what would happen. And yes, people did get pretty upset. Meanwhile, every Islander game I go to, whether they're playing the Golden Knights or they're playing some random team, there's always that guy wearing a Rangers jersey. You can't explain it. They always exist, though, for some reason. And you know what? Shout out to some of those Habs fans. I saw a couple of Habs fans last night. What did James say? You never wear your colors if your team is not playing, period. Yeah, I think that's fair, James. I think that's fair. Yo, thank you for the $1.10 Canadian Surreal. Surreal is a very few words. They like to chat, but then the super chat, they just give me the super chat. I appreciate that, Surreal. Thank you so much. Surreal and PJ are the real OGs here on the channel, man. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a new backdrop for the channel. And I also wanted some of your guys' opinions in the community tab. I've been thinking about some different things. I have two things that I'm kind of in the works right now. But I want to see what your guys' thoughts are. So as we get a new backdrop, I'm starting to evaluate what the summer content's going to look like and things like that. So keep it, stay tuned to the channel, guys, because I'm really interested to see what you guys think of what I'm going to be doing here this summer. I'm really excited as I'm starting to figure out all the details and things like that. But definitely make sure you're following the channel and you're connected to that community tab. We also on Discord. Make sure to check out our Discord. It's on the banner of the channel. If you click in the right corner, it's got, I think it's got our Instagram, our Twitter. I think it's got our Discord in there too. So make sure to check that out. Yeah, there's a tough game for Devils fans, man. Oof. I really like the Seattle Kraken. Dave, thank you for joining the chat. Bring in Sutter as coach or GM. I'm not sure for what team, though, Dave. Oh, for the Islanders. Oh, don't say that, Dave. PJ has been saying that for months. No, we do not need that. We do not need that. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of Lane Lambert, but PJ has been saying that for a while. He is Sutter's brother. Oh, that's why. That is such a Lou move, though. Lou Lamoriello would do something like that. Then they'd have to bring in Trevor Lewis. Trying to think who else he'd have to bring in. Probably Nikita Zadorov would be an Islander. Who else would be an Islander under Daryl Sutter? Maybe Michael Backlund. But that's what would end up happening. Yeah, I did see something about that, PJ. Yeah, apparently Uyghur was missing curfew. Yeah, and Backlund and Sutter would get in fights. Yes, I did hear about that a little bit. Yep. That's such a Lou Lamoriello move, is bringing in a guy like Daryl Sutter. It is. That you can't tell me that's not. He has no relation to Lou, but Lou Lamoriello likes that type of player. Yes, it is. Miro Haskins back in the lineup tonight for Dallas. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody that told me, oh, Dallas has more scoring depth than Seattle, you're wrong. In my playoff preview, guys, at the end of the day, I mean, it speaks for itself. I think 15 of the 16 goals scored by the Kraken have been by different players. You tell me who has the better offensive depth, Dallas Stars fans. Get the hell out of here, man. I'm sick of hearing that conversation. They gave me so much shit for like 2 or 3 days, and y'all were wrong. Everybody said Dallas has the better scoring, the better forward core. Say whatever you want. Seattle has 4 competent second lines, and that's what we're seeing right now in that series. So let me know your guys' final thoughts here before we end the stream. Thank you so much for joining us, PJ and Surreal, with the super chats. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for doing that, Shaka. Dave, don't spam the chat, man. No need for that. Thank you for that, Shaka. Just dumb. I understand your point, but you don't have to spam the chat. No need for that. Oh, I have heard that too. I'm tired of the Rangers fans asking Messier to coach the Rangers. Yeah, that would be Mickey Mouse League type of stuff from the Rangers. Do not bring in Messier as the coach. I would love to see it as an Islander fan because they're not going to win with that. But I look at too. He's not on the broadcast tonight. I think he's on the TNT broadcast. Honestly, I like Rick Tocchet. for either the Islanders or the Rangers. I think Tocchet would be a really good fit there. Welcome to the chat, Blue Line Hockey. I copied you. Yeah, you did with the goal line hockey. Listen, it's close, but I think you could get away with it, Blue Line Hockey. I appreciate you joining us, though. PJ, yes, I just finished uploading that Flames video. It'll be coming up next week. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if Urban's still in here, but his Minnesota Wild, yes, the video will be coming out tomorrow on the Minnesota Wild. So all my Wild fans, stay tuned for that tomorrow. Yeah, Shaka, we're looking into it. Let's just put it that way. I just want to get a feeler for what we're going to do with the logo. I'll leave it at this. Don't expect anything massive. We'll leave it at that. It's been under development for a while, but I just wanted to get a feeler from you guys. Oh, it's your friend. What's going on, Bentley? Thank you for joining us. Tocchet isn't a good coach. Okay. All right, PJ. Okay. I'm going to hold you to that. If Vegas eliminates Edmonton, I will drop the massive super chat. All right, PJ. We're holding you to that. And I think you'll be okay with that, too. It's a win-win, right? Miro Heiskanen with the bloody, ugly, gaudy scar. Man. And Jordan Eberle, man. I'm happy he's doing well in Seattle, but I really wish he was on the Islanders still. That one hurts. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, but Chicago winning the lot. There goes my dinner. It's been that kind of day. Yeah, I agree with you, Urban. It should have been Josh Bailey that moved. So now I have Chick-fil-A sauce all over me, guys. Yeah, let me know your guys' final thoughts because I gotta go clean up my room now. But I want to know what you guys think real quick before we close out. How'd you think of Vegas over Edmonton? It's been such a weird series, but it's been good. It's been a lot of goal scoring, and I want to see Vegas win. So I'm happy so far with how the series has gone. I think Urban is the only one having them win the cup. Oh no. Who's Maka Man? Is this another version of our guy earlier? Hire Sutter, fire Lamorello, and Lambert. Rebuild the team. I think I agree with rebuilding the team, honestly. So he's just making another account. Yeah, Shaka or PJ. Yeah, I think that's the same guy. I mean, I appreciate you making another channel just to do that, but I'm flattered. I really am flattered by that. And it looks like a little M&M. It looks like a blue M&M because you have an M and it looks like an M&M. So now I'm kind of craving M&Ms. Thank you. Yeah, Morgan's a mod. Yeah, thank you, Shaka, for jumping on that. Yeah, because it's a pain in the neck. We now see this is what happens. Goal line hockey's starting to move up in the world, and we're starting to get some of these people that just want to spam something. I don't know. It's very odd. I mean, listen, I'm not even just because I said the Islanders shouldn't get Daryl Sutter. You're like freaking out. I mean, very interesting. People, this is people, man. I have a very low tolerance for people, and that is one of those people that is just, I really don't know. Who'll be the Flames' next GM and coach? That's a good point. I would wonder if Calgary's in on Dubas if he ends up leaving Toronto. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Kyle Dubas, GM of the Calgary Flames, Sheldon Keefe behind the bench. That's my take for the night. Goal Line Hockey's take for the night. Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe go in a package, not to Pittsburgh, but to Calgary. I think there's a lot of really good pieces there. You've already got Huberdeau. You've already got a guy like Kadri, Uyghur. That's a team that could turn around next year. I don't think people are giving enough credence to Calgary. And I think Daryl Sutter was a real anchor on that team. And with the way that he went out, we're starting to see some of the real problems with Daryl Sutter. I think that would be a huge win for the Calgary Flames. You tell me. But I think they have a better shot at that than bringing in some new guy that's currently with the AHL team and a GM that we don't know, right? Gallant to the Islanders. That would be interesting. I think Gallant's going to stay in the division. I could see Columbus going after Gerard Gallant. I think last time around when they brought in Brad Larson, they were kind of sniffing around Gallant. I wonder if Gerard Gallant ends up going to Columbus. And I think, PJ, the other thing is, too, they need goaltending. Like, they need the goaltending to be hot. Yeah, whether it's Wolf, I wonder if they're going to trade Vladar this summer just to free up some cap space. I don't know if they're going to be able to get rid of Markstrom this summer. His value just plummeted. Prediction for Vegas versus Edmonton tomorrow. I just don't see Edmonton going out quietly. Is it going to be a high-scoring series? I'm going to say 5-3 Edmonton. I think Vegas can still win the series. I want Vegas to win the series. I just don't see Edmonton losing both games at home. I hope Vegas crushes them. I just, again, I'm separating what I want to happen versus what I think is going to happen. See, the problem with Edmonton is I don't even know if they can score 5 goals if McDavid and Draisaitl don't score all those goals. I really don't. This is a team that's really struggling to score, not on the power play, and their depth is just not doing anything. I don't know. You know what? I'm changing it. I'm going to change it right now. 4-2 Vegas. I'm flipping. 4-2 Vegas. Now, Vegas could win. Yeah, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say 4-2 Vegas. The reason I say that is I just don't see, like, who's scoring in the bottom 6 for Edmonton, right? Even in the top 6, how much has Hyman and Kane even been involved? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins doesn't have a goal yet this playoffs. What's going on there? And I don't see guys like Bukestad scoring, right? So unless they get another game where Draisaitl scores 4 goals and McDavid scores 2, other than that, I don't think they have the scoring depth that Vegas does. All right, guys. So that's it for tonight's stream. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're going to be back tomorrow night for the Leafs and the Panthers. So stay tuned for that short live stream. Thank you so much for getting the likes up. And I will see you guys again next time. Peace out.